Hi, Lee Phillips here again. Yeah, I'm an attorney even though I'm in a Hawaiian shirt. If you are new, don't forget to like us, ring the bell, toot the horn, whatever we do, and don't miss the free download below. What we're going to talk about today is the use of an LLC and then how to avoid probate when the owner of the LLC dies. There are two ways that you can avoid probate when the owner dies. One is you can have the LLC owned by the trust. We'll get into that. Your living revocable trust. That's the member. And two, you can actually write it into the operating agreement. What happens when one of the members dies? Let's look at the living revocable trust for 2 seconds. The trust is going to have to be the member. That means the trust is going to have to be on the paperwork of the LLC as the member. Now remember, and I've said this 50 times, the trust's name is the name of the trust, the date of the trust, and the trustee. So those three elements need to be listed in the operating agreement. Some states require it in the state filings, most don't. But you need to have it in your operating agreement. The trust, name, date, and trustee is the member. Then if you're sharp enough to issue actual stock certificates or membership certificates, then those need to be in the name of the trust. The trust is the owner of the LLC. Works really well when the trust grantor, settlor, the guy who sets up the trust, when they die instantly upon their death, the new trustee can come in, they can distribute that ownership of the LLC out to the beneficiaries as the trust directs. Couple of issues. If your LLC is taxed as a Subchapter S, like you would a Subchapter S corporation, it's taxed under Subchapter S, then the trust has to be a qualified Subchapter S trust. A lot of the standard living revocable trusts are qualified Subchapter S trusts. Basically, we have to have the Social Security number of the guy because the IRS needs to know where it's going to be taxed, and they have to get the income. There are a number of criteria for a qualified Subchapter S trust. You can ask your attorney if you're a qualified Subchapter S trust. If you're not, then the IRS can come in, recalculate that whole thing, and make you a C corporation taxation structure rather than a Subchapter S. So it's a big deal, guys. That means all your distributions suddenly become dividends, double taxation, all of that garbage. So use the living revocable trust, and that's what most people do. Or you can write it into the operating agreement. When John dies, then these three guys get equal share of his ownership in the LLC. That's written in the operating agreement. Most states will let you do that. And if you write it in, that's fine. Do whatever you want with it. However, you got to remember that this operating agreement, the directions that you give in the operating agreement, they override trusts, they override wills, they override everything else. So that's the final say. And there are lots of things that override your will and your trust, but the operating agreement will do that. And whatever's written in the operating agreement, that goes. Most people, even a lot of estate planning attorneys and the standard lawyers, they never think probate on a small business, an LLC. When your guy set it up, he never talked to you about that. When Legal Doom set it up, they never talked to you about that. So you have to think, what happens when dad dies to the LLC or the corporation, either one? This same stuff could go for a corporation. What happens when the owner dies? That's a probatable asset because it requires dad's signature in order to transfer ownership to somebody else. So if it ends up in probate, the courts have control of that little company for a long time, And the fact is 95% of the little companies die when the owner dies. And this probate, getting it caught in probate, is one of the major reasons that happens. I saw a doctor, pediatrician. He had a great practice. He died unexpectedly, and his practice went into probate for a year. And by the end of the year, the family couldn't sell the practice because all of the clients, the patients, had gone bye-bye. They weren't going to hang around for a year to see who the new doc was. So it's very important that you think, what happens to the little company on the death of the owner? Now, don't forget to get the course on LLC, how to do the LLC. It's called my LLC mini course. It walks you through a lot of things about LLCs. It's actually very good. Order that. It's free. We don't sell your information or anything. We just work with you. So this is Lee Phillips. Don't forget to subscribe and all that garbage either.